What's going on, everyone, and welcome back to the Double M Live. What's good, Mr. Mike? Nice.
Woo! I'm so hyped, man. Y'all don't even know because we got a big show on this Tuesday. This blessed Tuesday night. You know, I like to say this blessed Tuesday night.
It's a super show. You know how you have those shows. You know, DC and Marvel been doing them. You have them shows, and everyone watches their show. Some people like Flash. Some
Yep.
people like to watch Arrow.
Mhm.
Some people like to watch Batwoman.
And
Or
then
then there's a crossover. There's a crossover show when they all meet up, and as a fan, you're just excited, like, oh my god, my favorite superheroes are coming together.
exactly they
How are they
they
gonna
coming here
interact?
and they coming over there and they doing and you get it.
Listen. Speaking of crossovers, Snyder Cut just came out. Justice League. They did it right, Mike. Did they do it right?
Zack Snyder blessed the DC fans with a hell of a movie. I tell you, 4 hours. I didn't move once. Not
Yeah,
once.
they did it right. Because if you know about the first Justice League,
Yeah.
that was a big ass sorry. We haven't done. We haven't had a
It's been a
sorry in
minute.
a minute.
We got to bring back the sorries. You got to
gotta
bring
bring
back
back sorry.
We got to bring it back. We'll bring it back, man.
But this is a super show. So I mean, all those Mike Nice and DJ Mees, we can't call it a super show if it's just us. That's not right. And it is March. If you've been following Double M, we've been having some special guests, having some special series of giving women their flowers. And the guests, yes, with an S, that we have on this show definitely deserve their flowers. We're talking about women of color podcasting as well and doing their thing and moving, creating a movement of their own. And it's a beautiful thing to see. So, we honored Mike Nice
Always.
to have him on this show. Who do we want to introduce first? I feel like I want to be like Mike Banner and just on the left side we have.
Hey, man, you did a solid introduction there. Like you said, Women's History Month. The flowers continue to give out, and even though March is winding down, and we're gonna kind of put a little bow on, our Women's History Month edition of Double M throughout the whole course of the month and giving out our flowers. What a beautiful way to end off the month. Hey, the flowers to the women, the love to the women never stops. Don't let it get twisted. Just because March is over doesn't mean it ever stops. It never stops. But we've been doing it big on Double M, and we're going to continue doing it with this show. So yes, like Marv said, we got two great podcasts joining us. And it don't even matter who we introduce first. They're both great. It don't even matter. It's both great. They're both great.
They're both great. We're gonna go alphabetical order. So the first group podcast that we are going to introduce to you guys is we had a little collab earlier during the year as well. We had our girl Tati come in and she was talking to us about pretty much that cancel culture, and then all the craziness that was happening with B Simone, and now she's got her dynamic duo with her Ellie. They are the duo of the Girlfriend's Guide podcast. They've been doing their thing right now, and we want to introduce them to the show. Welcome, Girlfriend's Guide podcast.
Woo!
Thank you. Thanks for having us. Thank you guys so much for having us. Hey.
Sound effects soon to come.
Hey.
And also joining the Girlfriend's Guide podcast here on Double M Live, we got some heavy hitters themselves, the Soulful She Pod.
I wasn't prepared for it to pop up, so could you?
I love the sound effects. I know.
I'm crying.
They're gonna get better. They're definitely gonna get better. Ladies, thank you guys for joining us here on Double M Live. It's an honor. We have a lot to get through in the short time we are together. So, we're not gonna waste too much time. A lot's happened even on this day as we are watching live here on a Tuesday. I was speaking to the Soulful She Pod, and we had already a script of what we was gonna talk about, and then Daph hit me, was like, scratch all that. Something just happened. Something just happened on the Shade Room. And I'm like, Shade Room, what happened? She sent me the video. So I'm gonna just pass it off to Daphne, and we're gonna We're gonna get it started right here. What was that video you showed me, Daph?
I didn't know I was going first. Okay. So the video that I shared, well, it was kind of like simultaneous. We texted earlier about today, and then I go on Shade Room, and the first thing that pops up is that infamous video now of Quavo and Sweetie in that elevator, and these elevators been getting people in trouble. And as soon as I saw it, I knew it'd be a topic. I didn't even go into the comments at first for the Shade Room because I already know the arguments that are going on in there. So I just was like, I'm not going to tell you what happened. I'm going to just need you to see what happened. And for us to kind of talk about what we saw and what we think, and it being Women's Month and all that, and how people are already bashing Sweetie. So
yeah, so please, I'm one for sure. I haven't seen the video, and in all honesty, this is literally the first time I'm hearing about this Quavo and Sweetie video elevator situation happening. So for people like me, people who's tuned in right now, somebody please break down the video, the footage. What exactly happened?
I can go ahead and describe it. So from this Shade Room video, it was a little bit shorter. So I went to TMZ, who officially posted it at first. But it looks like Sweetie swings. They're both grabbing onto a bag. She tries not to get into this elevator that just opens. And as soon as it opens, he looks like he grabs her arm, throws her into the elevator, and they get into the elevator. By the time he swings her in the elevator, she's at this point on the floor, and she just sits on the floor. And then he's just standing there, kind of looks up, sees the camera, and then from there, there's not much left. You could see that he's like, damn, there's a camera. So it was very physical. It looked really, really violent. And yeah, it's not a good look at all. No.
Yeah, so like Daph was saying, these elevator videos just they're gonna get you. They're gonna get you. They're gonna get you. And Quavo and Sweetie, they've been the hot topic this past week. The breakup, and then Quavo taking back whatever he thought was his, and all of this thing going back and forth. And then you see that video, and they're physically fighting over a bag or
whatever it is inside. Yeah,
whatever is in there is quite important. It's quite important what's in there. I was watching the Avengers the other day, and they had a suitcase they needed one of the stones. It's like people had a stone in that bag, and he was not going to have Sweetie hold on to it. Shoved her in the elevator. They both fell. She stayed on the ground. He stays up. And then of course he looks up at the camera, and it's just like it doesn't look good at all. Although fists or in hands weren't thrown in this video for what we know. It was a physical altercation, and like Daph said, you don't really need to look into the comments to know that it was going to be a back and forth of who was wrong, who was right, how did this look. So before we even give our opinions on what we think as men, ladies, what was your initial reactions? We'll start with the Girlfriend Guide podcast.
Well, so as a girl, immediately when I saw this, I was like, oh, hell no. What is Quavo doing? It was just, my initial reaction was just like, this is Quavo's fault. And it's just more of I didn't even dig into the video. It was just, I automatically blame Quavo. I don't know the story. And it's, the more you watch it, you do see that Sweetie did swing first. And I don't know what it is. Everyone's wondering what this pink bag is. That's so important. It's just he threw her in the elevator and was just it seemed violent. And I think the reason why I came to already be oh, it's Quavo's doing this, because obviously we already know the story. Quavo cheated on Sweetie and it's all this. So I was just automatically put the blame on Quavo, but we actually don't know the initial, we don't know what happened, but it's just, it was violent and it wasn't good. So yeah.
I feel like we saw Sweetie swing. I thought, for me, the way I looked at it, I thought she was taking the pink bag to school again with the bag, and he was trying to, I don't know, deflect it, pulled her in. Either way, whether she swung first, he swung first, the situation should have never happened. Kind of like Ellie, I think as women, we're already Team Sweetie. So anything at this point, it's just kind of it's hard. I'm not going to lie, double standards. It's hard to see the other side. But I'm happy they're not together anymore. I think it just escalated to a point where it shouldn't have. I don't think this was the first encounter because I just like the way they was moving. Like it probably has happened before. It just hasn't been on camera. I just hope they stay away from each other. She's safe. As she said, she's elevating in her life. She was emotionally checked out for a long time, and it makes a lot more sense. It clearly is just more than cheating. It's physical abuse as well. It seems like it.
It kind of looked like it could be physical abuse on both ends.
On both ends?
Yeah. Like, I don't stand for girls slapping guys and punching guys. That right there is just, no, don't do it.
It's a sticky situation as a woman because I'm not going to sit here and say anyone should hit anyone.
Yeah.
But we're taught the man should walk away. But at the same time, no one should be putting hands on anyone, no matter what the gender.
Right.
And not saying that this is that situation, but as a man, as a human being, how long are you going to let anyone physically touch you until you can defend yourself?
Right.
So it's very hard.
And it's not healthy. It's not healthy for both people to be going at it.
So either way, as long as they're broken up, they both get the help that they both individually need. It was wrong of Quavo. It was wrong of Sweetie. They both should have never gone to that point in the first place.
Yeah.
Soulful She, you guys have anything you want to add onto those comments?
Do you want to go first?
Sure. So I think that the first thing when I saw that video, the first thing that came to my mind is watching Quavo like just monitor that bag in ways that like I've never seen anybody monitor that bag. The same way that Marv, you said, like there was many rings in there that he needed to hold on to, because even after the fact that like she let go, he was still like cornering that bag and like positioning himself in that elevator in a way that it's just like, you're not holding on to this in any way, shape, or form. And so the fact that like whatever it is that is in that bag, or whatever the situation progressed, that he put so much value into that bag, is not good at all. Because you're telling me that I don't know if morally that's what he does, that like he puts hands on or, you know, does things to women. But if it is something that he does do on the regular, or if he doesn't do it on the regular, something checked out of him to get him to where he was in that situation. And that's not okay. And then the second thing was that like, I know that there's double standards of like guys or girls and who, you know, who gets more publicity about being abused. Regardless, none of it should be happening. So like, again, I don't care who is doing what or where it is happening. Like if Sweetie is physically abusing him or emotionally abusing him, regardless of the situation, we should not be putting hands on anybody. We should not be putting hands on anybody. I don't care what the situation is. There's stuff like restraining orders. There's stuff that there's so many other things that are available to you where you do not have to be putting hands on somebody. And I know also at the same time within abuse, there are situations where like you can't control what's going on or you can't remove yourself because maybe you don't feel comfortable. Or there's so many different facets involved with it because like the girl said, we don't know the whole story. We do not know the whole story, but at the end of the day, we should not be putting hands on anybody. And so like just seeing the way that Quavo just like manhandled her across into the elevator.
Keyword man.
Like that's not okay. That's not okay. That's not good. I don't care if she did the first punch or not. That's not okay.
I think for me, the elevator door opened. I don't care what's in that bag. You know who Sweetie is. You're dating her. If you need whatever's in that bag, it won't be too hard to find her. Elevator door opens, walk in and leave. She's swinging on you. Elevator, like you had your exit. You know, the cue came. Elevator doors open. If it was that difficult, if it was a situation that she's angering you and you can get physical, he had the perfect cue to let me get my ass in this elevator. Let me leave her over there and we can resolve this later. I don't care what's in the bag. I don't care it can be $1 million. They have millions elsewhere. So $1 million is nothing for them. Drop the bag, walk away. That's how I felt about it. Like there was no need to pull her into the elevator. Maybe she wasn't trying to leave with him. So maybe she was trying to walk away or whatever. But at the end of the day, nothing should be that serious where he had to pull her in. then you're not de-escalating. You're not walking away from the situation. You're building up the situation. So for me, I just felt like his cue was there. Elevator doors opened. Let me just leave this and walk away for right now because we're heated right now. And that's how I see it at the end of it. You don't need to pull her in. You don't need to throw her around. I don't care who's fighting over this bag, but even if they're fighting, there's consequences to that. So this is the consequences they're facing now. He's facing now because we visually can see what he did to her. Elevator doors should have just opened and he should have walked away. And that's how I feel about it. I don't care if she was swinging, then push her off you, get in the elevator and leave. So that's how I felt about it.
Hey, Marv, I see you.
Oh, I was gonna swing it to you, my guy. But I think one thing when watching this video, what we can't create narratives.
Right.
We cannot create any type of narratives of what happened on what they discussed prior to the elevator, what happened after the elevator, what could possibly be inside the bag. We can only just see what's going on. Yes, when you see it, obviously you see a man more physical to a woman, putting her on the ground. And right there, it's all as a black man, that's all you need to see to say this went south. It went south, and it didn't go well at all. And I think someone brought up a comment here where I think it was Marie saying he looks too comfortable doing it. The part where she was on the ground, just laying on the ground, he's just looking at her like, what like, why are you still on the floor? It looks like, once again, I'm not trying to, but it looks comfortable. It looks like this is something that's been happening. It's not like he tried to pick her up afterwards or anything like that. She was on the floor. They waited. They were just standing there. He looks up at the camera and whatnot. So it's unhealthy. You guys mentioned it prior to the fact that, hey, good thing that they're no longer together. They can go their separate ways. I don't know what Sweetie was doing prior. I don't really care, honestly. I don't give a damn about any celebrities, whatnot, and their relationships. I could care less. But once a man puts a woman and it looks like she's at harm, then it's an issue. If Sweetie's swinging. Sweetie's tiny. She's swinging on Quavo. I'm pretty sure, like you said, Quavo can just walk away.
Right.
That unless it's an infinity stone, he can walk away. I promise you, he can walk away. But yeah, it's a wild video. Double standards are definitely a thing. We don't know if Quavo's gets beat, she was hitting him and all this thing that we don't know that, and I hope that's not the case, because automatically when you look at that video, man, when you see that, you say, well, that's it's Quavo's fault. It's Quavo's fault, and we don't want to get all the way there. We just know it looks wrong, it's unhealthy, and it was bad video.
I mean, the question I pose is, okay, what if that was your sister, your cousin, your mother, and you saw just that clip? And as a man, how would you feel? Would you be asking about the story? Would you be asking about the narrative? Would you be wanting to know what's happening before?
Exactly why I said the narrative doesn't matter. I see a man healing a woman. If that's my mom, sister, whatever, Quavo gonna have to see that.
Exactly.
You're gonna have to. What's that video, Mike? We popped that thing too over here.
we popped that thing too. You know what? But I'm sitting here listening to all the comments because, again, I haven't seen the video or read TMZ, Shade Room, anything. I'm just listening to what you guys have to say about it. I mean, first and foremost, domestic violence and domestic abuse has no place ever. So, like, let's put that out there first and foremost. And it doesn't matter if it's it's a situation where she's been abusing him abusing her. It has no place for it. Obviously, like we just said, if I saw that video and the way you guys are describing it, if that's my sister, my cousin, my mom, Quavo's getting hunt down. Like that's just how it has to be. But there's no place for any of that, point blank and simple. And obviously, the questions, the rumors, they're going to run rampant right now because, this is not the first time we've seen a situation happen in an elevator. Obviously, in history, we've seen much wilder situations.
Elevator history.
Elevator history has been very wild. How does this video stack up to some of the other videos we've seen? we've seen crazy videos, but still the situation, the evidence, the video evidence is still there of some type of physical altercation taking place, and there's no place for it. That's what I get and take away from all of this. There's no place for it at all.
Yes.
We got our EP in the building. Shout out to Sam. He brings up a question, Mike Nice. What if Quavo was your brother and you seen his woman beating his ass?
If Quavo was my brother and I saw a woman, I'm gonna have to talk to them. I'm gonna have to have a conversation with both. Something's clearly not right here. I'm not gonna go hunt the woman down and try to fight her like I just said I would do to Quavo if he was on my mom and my sister. But I'm not gonna go hunt her down. That's what I'm gonna say about it. But a conversation, obviously, there's a problem at the root of the altercation, physical or verbal. There's an issue. That's what a verbal or physical altercation comes from. There's an issue there that needs to be handled, addressed. Whether that means it needs to be handled, addressed, and you move on for the better or the worse. So you separate. You can fix things. I don't know. That's between you and your relationship and your situation. But at the end of the day, there's a root to the problem.
Yeah.
Right. And when it comes to a woman beating on a man, it comes back to what we were saying earlier. You got to leave. Anytime once a relationship gets any type of physical, that's not a relationship.
There's no place for that. There's no place for that.
That's not a relationship no more. And we've heard stories, we've seen it in our lives possibly, where people stay in these type of situations, and then it's toxic, and it can obviously continue to get worse.
Yeah, if Quavo was my brother, I would have just said you should have just left on the elevator. Same thing I said before. So should have just walked away. Yeah. And if she was beating on her, then that's beating on my brother, then that's a different story. But we can separate them. But my initial reaction would have been you should have just walked away. Because at the end of the day, with the double standards, my brother's the one that's going to be in a situation now. He's going to be the one that's in trouble. He's the one that we have to figure out how to help out right now, no matter the story. And also, he should have known better than to be grabbing her and pulling her into the elevator, regardless. Right. So if I was my brother, I would have said the same thing.
Yeah, it's not a good look.
Not at all.
Like Sam was saying earlier, narratives are going to be made. There's going to be a lot of rumors of what's in the bag and how it started. And I mean, y'all, I'll see it through y'all. I won't be looking for why it started and how it started and whatnot. Hopefully they're both going into their separate ways, in both musically too. So that's awkward in the hip hop world. But we're not gonna spend our whole show on Quavy and Sweetie. Thank you guys for bringing up your opinions and your topics, but being said in the comments, we got some melanated queens in the building right now, and there's a lot of discussion that we want to have, topics that are gonna get spicy. Some might not, but speaking to you guys want to go there. So this is a question where I can't wait to hear these answers from. And I even had me and Girlfriend Guy podcast. We were trying to word how we were going to bring up this topic here. So, is dating harder for independent women?
Ooh.
Absolutely,
100%.
So, I mean, Girlfriend's Guide, you guys were the ones that came up with this topic, this question. Please break it down for everyone tuned in. Where this question comes from, the basis of this question.
Well, so I can speak for myself, but then me and Ellie are both Haitian, and specifically in our culture too. And what I've witnessed is that a lot of the older generation, our moms, our aunts, our grandmothers, they got married more for a sense of stability, and then kind of love trickled in there. So it's kind of like, okay, you needed a man to, keep the household going, even though the woman would work too, but he's the head. He's the one. If you don't got a man in a household, do you really have a household type of situation? Versus now, I feel like for our generation, it's kind of like, I'm focused on my career, I'm focused on my bag, I'm focused on building myself up. I need a man to bring more. When not finances, I got that. Stability, I got that. So now that's requiring a lot more from the men. And I feel like even though we've changed with what we require, from our experiences, the men think they can offer the same thing that our mothers would have accepted that we're not accepting today. So being independent requires new standards that aren't always met.
What are the standards?
That I don't just need the money. I need the affection. I need the honesty. I need the loyalty. Versus before, it's kind of like as long as that check was coming in, food was on the table, whatever you do outside, keep it outside.
Right.
Not necessarily even talking about cheating, but like if you're not being a good partner emotionally, intimacy, all that, it's okay because at the end of the day, we have a roof over our heads. Our kids are being fed.
Mm-hmm.
I can do all that by myself. So what can you bring to me as an independent woman?
Absolutely.
Keep drinking water. Keep drinking water.
Wait, I'm gonna drink this water tonight. I'm about to go to the fridge.
This is gonna sound a little harsh, but like in the Haitian culture, like a Haitian woman, Tati and I were both only child.
Yeah.
So my parents, everything I had to do, like my resume is probably 50 pages long because I could probably do everything because my parents are immigrants. So I had to do so much for them. And there's so much I know how to do. So at a young age, college applications, my parents don't know what that is. Everything from the start of like, I would say teenage life, I was doing everything on my own. So I automatically became an independent woman. And then I felt like you already gained that independence at a young age. So when you hit like your 20s, you're like, all right, I'm a boss. I know what I want. I'm driven. I'm career driven. I have my degree. And then it's like, that doesn't matter for you because you already have if you have a good job, you have the money coming, you can take yourself out. Yeah. It's just like, what else matters?
And
go ahead. Yeah, what else matters? Because you can like really take care of yourself. Where before, like Tati mentioned, like people have always seen marriage as like a financial contract. Mm-hmm. Hey, we come together, let's put our salaries together and boom, or we have this amount of money and you can pay for this and I can pay for this. But in reality, now it's just like girls are like, within 5 years, I want to buy my own house. Within the next 2 years, I'm gonna get myself a new, like we're on boss moves. And girls are now like, we don't need a man to actually complete the financial standards in our lives because we already got that. What else can you bring? Actually, the financial part doesn't really matter. It's like the loyalty, the respect. It does matter.
No. Finish. Please finish. Please finish.
Saying as if like
I'm okay making more.
Right, I'm okay making more, but it's not up there. Like it's like respect. I rather have respect. I rather have loyalty. I rather have all that. Not only love, but I rather have all the other things, and then finance can come into it.
And we come to a point, to be honest, we don't need to necessarily have a boyfriend husband to even have a baby. Science is in our favor right now. So what are you bringing me?
So I have a question, and Sam is asking. Sam, we think alike because we had the same question here. Whoops. Hi, Eric. Can y'all stand by a genuine man who doesn't have his finances set, but he's working on it? So he's got the loyalty, he's listening, he's catering to you, but
he's broke and he's working on
it. He don't got the cheddar. Are you guys having that same energy?
I got a question. How broke? Is it like he doesn't? No, it matters.
It matters.
Like, is he financially literate?
Does he understand how to make money?
Does he understand how to make money? Does he know how to
even want to work?
Huh?
Does he even want to work?
He
does he even want to work?
Oh, that's he said. You're broke mentally too, not even just your pockets. Your mind is messed up.
Because I feel like at this age that we're
the truth's coming out.
Yeah, we can't sit back like this, but we'll let him go.
I feel like at this age that we're in, we're not like the old generation. We're so literate when it comes to finance now. We're like, everyone's trying to understand stocks. Everyone's trying to learn how to build their savings and do all this. So it's kind of like, for me personally, I would want to have someone with the same mentality because I'm trying to build myself. And I couldn't have someone who's just like, at least if he's willing to learn about certain things of how to build himself financially. But like if he has a career and he's trying to save,
we can work with that.
We can work with that.
Okay,
you can. I don't know. You guys are trying to convince yourselves that you can work with that.
Let's delegate here. I want to hear what Soulful she has to say on this topic as well, because this conversation can go many different ways. Your input, Social C. What do you guys have to say about it?
So, I mean, So I'm also a child of immigrants, but I was raised by a single mom. So by the age of like when I could start reading, so 5, 6, whatever, I was translating anything that came in the mail. So from very, very young, I had to learn how to do all these things. I had to learn medical terms at 5, try to translate to my mother, you have an appointment so-and-so day or whatever. So I grew up not only with that, but her being so independent and raising kids on her own. So I've always been raised to be so independent, and also gotten to the point that I'm the go-to person in the family now. So like if anyone needs anything, like call my name, because I'm the one that knows how to do it. I can resolve it. So I was raised into this, which is at this point in my life frustrating because I just don't want to be bothered. Like, I don't want to always have to be the one, but I just had to grow up into that. So now I'm in this position now. Like, I'm the one that has to answer all these questions. I'm the one that has to answer like lawyer questions. I'm like, I didn't go to law school, but I have to know. So I think in terms of being, yeah, I see you guys like agreeing. In terms of being an independent woman, I think it's like, I have my job. I'm getting my finances together. We're learning all these things to build ourselves up. So if a man's coming to the picture, for me, honestly, it's the will of wanting to do better and be better. So if he's working and he's really trying, he might not be where he wants to be, but I believe in building. I'm still building myself. I'm still going. I know I have my goals. Maybe I'm a little further ahead. Maybe I'm making more money. But for me, it's as long as you have that dedication to do it and not like, I'm broke right now, but also I'm not even trying to look for a job. I'm not trying to even figure out anything. I'm going to chill with you until I figure it out. It's not really going to work for me. But I just think that if you have someone that's motivated and ambitious like I am, and we match in that kind of sense, then we can work on it and see where it goes from there. So
I like that. I think I want to go back to the root of the question where it was like, is it hard for independent women to like in the dating world? And I just go back to like, yes, you guys were talking about how our parents were in a different generation and a different mindset, and they were very much in survival mode. And just the same way that we as amazing, beautiful, phenomenal, independent women are in a different mindset, so are the generation of men that have been growing up. And so I think it's important to note that like just the same way that we are being independent and doing our thing, so are the men in this generation. And so I think it's also important to like be mindful. Being mindful that like, because I psychologically can have an emotional, like what's the word that I'm trying to say? A conversation to like figure out where I'm coming into a relationship, so can the men in the situation. And so I think that if I am an independent woman, I should be comfortable, strong enough to be able to say, this is what I need in a relationship. And then also have that conversation with the man and be like, okay, this is what he needs in a relationship. And like being able to come to the drawing board and be very transparent and be very vulnerable with like, this is what I can bring to the table. This is what I want from the at the table. So I think that that's something else that like we didn't have before, because before, again, we were only paying attention to the money. So our parents are paying attention to survival, so they only cared about like specific things that were being brought at the table. I think that now we're in a space where we can really sit down at the table and be like, hey, this is what I want. This is what I yearn for. This is what I need for a stable relationship to be with me and for me to be with you. And so I think like, is it hard for independent women to date? No. Are there insecure men? Yes. And so it's really being able to feel comfortable enough to be at the table and say like, I have my finances ready. And I know that you might not have your finances ready, but that's not what I'm looking for. This is A, B, and C, D, E, F, G is what I'm looking for. Can you bring that to the table? Because that's what I actually want. And I think that I believe we should be in a space now, because we're not paying attention to our basic needs, but more our psychological needs now, that like we can have that conversation, or at least be comfortable to begin that conversation with men that are like men in our generation. And if the man does not or cannot have that conversation, then is he emotionally intelligent enough to have that conversation,
or to be emotionally intelligent to be with me?
And like, to not allow his insecurities of, well, I saw my dad growing up and he needed to supply food and you know, he needed to supply the finances. Well, yeah, that was back then. We're not there now. Like, are you able to remove that insecurity to be able to have a conversation and like be okay with the things that we're asking to be put at the table? I hope that makes sense.
Completely. My God.
Yo,
let me say a word.
Yo,
a word.
let me put this out there. Let me put this out there. You are now tuned into Double M Live. We are joined by the Soulful She Pod, Girlfriend's Guide Pod. If you tune in right now, hit that like button, that subscribe button, that share button. Make sure you follow Girlfriend's Guide and Soulful She as well, because the fire is turned up in here. This conversation is great. Marv, you ready to dive in?
my brother, you know how we do on this show, man.
I'll make this statement clear cut. I don't know if I'm speaking for myself or whoever else I got to speak for. Sure. We love independent women. There's nothing like a beautiful, strong, independent woman. I tell you, it's a great thing to see. You know, my man Neo, he had that song from years back, and the lyrics still ring true today. Nothing like an independent woman. You know, having a conversation with the woman who, you know, has her sights set on different goals and passions and has a drive to do X, Y, and Z and making moves to do A, B, and C. It's beautiful to see. You know, the days before, you know, that was brought up of, you know, come home, make sure the food's ready, clothes folded, and like that's gone. Like we're not living like that anymore. You know, having somebody with you that is on the grind as well. Two people in a relationship grinding, making moves, they have aspirations to do different things, and they're both go-getters, and you don't necessarily need to depend on the next person to make your move. It's a beautiful sight to see. I absolutely, positively love it.
Yeah, I mean, I guess I can only speak for the men I hang out with, but
that is
we don't want no dependent women. Like a woman who's very dependent and needs everything from you. I don't think the way we've grown up, like Iris mentioned it, we also have grown up in a new generation of seeing women being able to handle themselves and women being able to be put in power. And that's attractive as hell. Like, you want to see your partner be able to handle their own business and be able to do that. As a man, I'm always going to want to be a provider, and I'm also going to want to help. But if we have that conversation, I'm going to make sure you're good at all times. No matter what, you're going to be good. I'm not going to overbear you and try to step over you and say, hey, you want to shine, go shine. Whatever you need from me as a man, I'm going to help provide that for you. I will take that extra step, but that's all I'm going to do. Be independent. Nobody, I don't think we want women just sitting around the house and being like, hey, I made you feel like, nah, go out, do something. Be who you need to be. Be who you need to be. Like, you have your own story to write, and we write it together. That's going to be greater than Harry Potter. I don't know. It's going to be best-selling, top artist, everything. But we don't want a woman that's just not doing anything. Now you bring up insecurities. Yes, that's a huge thing. Huge thing. Men do have insecurities when it comes to women. When it comes to if a woman's making more money than you, how are you going to be able to handle that? Well, partner, you better figure it out. Like, it's because we're moving in an age where that's going to be reality. If that's the case, you have to fix something within yourself, not try to fix your partner. Maybe you got to make more money, or maybe you just got to enjoy what you're doing and keep working on your craft. But I don't think that if someone is at a higher level, especially a woman's at a higher level, we shouldn't, as men, try to bring them down because we're not feeling the right way.
Agreed.
I think a lot of time, a lot of men, the reason why that they feel that way and they're insecure about, and they don't see the value of an independent woman is because they know that woman deserves better. Because if they're not trying to elevate and they're
that again.
So a lot of time when men are insecure and they don't value an independent woman in their life, a lot of time it's because they know that woman deserves better. And they're just sticking around and they're bringing that woman down, whether it's negative comments they're making. And, you know, it's this woman obviously loves this man and she's going to stick around, right? But this man is not, elevating her, not, uplifting her. He's jealous, and he knows that she can actually do better because he's not trying to elevate. And a lot of time women would stay with a man that, is not meeting their standards because they love them.
Yeah, I think the finances mask the real issues that they're lacking. Because if you're providing everything else and the finances is that one little part, no girl's gonna care.
Right.
And, like, you shouldn't care either. But when you're lacking in everything else, and then it's just kind of like you feel like you're not providing enough because you're not putting in that effort, then that's when the insecurity truly shows.
Yeah.
I think that segues into our next topic perfectly. Speaking on just, providing and genders and stuff. Do gender roles still exist in relationships? Soulful She, we're gonna hand it to y'all.
I think that they definitely do exist, but I think that plays into the people that are in the relationship, right? If we sit and we're watching social media and how people are reacting on Twitter and stuff like that, and how people debate about what I expect my man to do, what the woman's supposed to do, then of course in relationships, that's how we're going to feel. We're going to feel that we have these gender roles. I think gender roles, but I feel like now, like Iris was saying earlier, if we're coming to the table in a relationship and saying these are the things I can bring, these are the things I want, and then vice versa, the man's like, these are the things I can bring, but this are the things that I want from a relationship, then roles don't play anything, or gender doesn't play anything. It's on the agreement that you guys have created. Mm-hmm. So you guys have created this kind of, I guess I'll say contract, or just agreement of understanding, if we want to be together, these are the things that are going to help support me. So if I'm more sensitive in certain ways, respecting some of those sensitivities, and vice versa, because men can be sensitive too. And also understanding that if he's in a mood, not belittling him, putting him down and emasculating him because you need to man up. Those words shouldn't work in your relationship. And if that's a conversation or something that you say to someone you're with in your relationship, then you guys have to look into how you guys are treating each other. So gender roles, I think, in the world outside, if you really look out there, do exist. But when you bring it into a relationship, you really have to work on not having that play the part. And if you play those gender roles, then you have to look into yourself and why it's so important for a man to be a certain way and a woman to be a certain way. So, and if you both agree and you're like, well, the man always takes the trash out and the woman always cooks, and that's how you guys agree in your relationship, then you guys agree on that. And don't let anyone's opinions kind of play into that. So
oh, that's well said. Any other things to add on to that?
I'm good.
I agree with Daphne. I think it really just depends on your relationship. There's certain things, like the funny thing is you mentioned taking the trash. I hate taking the trash out. I hate it. But if I come to my relationship and I'm like, yo, babe, taking the trash out, that's not really my thing. Do you mind? Obviously, if he's not here, I'm going to take it. I don't think it comes into gender roles. It may go into gender roles, if outsiders look at it, oh, he always takes the trash out, that's a man's duty. No, that's just in our relationship. We agree to that. So I think gender roles do exist, like you said, outside, but within your relationship, it's not gender roles. Tati's role and your role. If that somehow falls into society's definition of gender roles, then okay, but that's not what I'm setting in my relationship. Because if that's the case, I personally feel like I'm not the one who's always going to be cooking and cleaning. You're not the one who's always going to be taking out the trash, doing certain things. So it's a 50-50. We talk about it. We know what each other likes to do. And then we go from there. If it's a situation, if I'm not cooking and every time I don't cook, there's no food in the house, that's a problem. We need to be able, even though we don't like to do it, it's one role. If I can't, I need to know you're going to be able to without me even having to ask, because it's not a gender role for partnership.
Absolutely. I know in the Haitian culture, I'm just going to speak based off the Haitian culture. If you guys didn't know, we're Haitian. Actually, we have our Haitians in here. So in the Haitian culture, the wife cooks. I don't care if you worked 11 to 3, 3 to 7. When you come home, you're cooking for your man. You're washing his clothes. You're ironing his clothes. All of that. And I said, who's gonna do that? Because not me. That's how the culture is. And a lot of men who grow up in the Haitian culture see that's what their mom do or does. And just the Caribbean culture or African culture too, I could say. that's what they saw their mom do for their dad. So they think once they get married and they have a girl,
the same way.
It's gonna be the same way. Let me tell you, wake up call. That's not happening. Because I feel like this generation, especially now, let's be real. I feel like a lot of Black women are the most educated. And I feel like a lot of Black women, they do work the late night shifts and they do work more. So whether it's the man that's coming home early, hey, if I'm coming home late, I would expect dinner to be cooked, right? It's not my job as a woman to come home after like at 7 o'clock and that's when I'm gonna be cooking you dinner. Which I'm saying I'm never gonna be cooking you dinner, but hey, I would love for you to let's work together as a couple to make sure that we lift off the pressure off each other's back.
Yes.
Let's work together as a couple to do that. It doesn't have to be like you do this, you do that, and I do this. That's my role. But there are specific roles. Like, let's be real that, hey, there's roles of, I don't know, do girls open doors for men?
Oh, you tapping into a whole gentleman conversation right now.
Like, that's a guy's, like, that's a role. That's a role. Those are certain roles those are the roles that guys.
You're going down a slippery slope by saying that, though.
But I'm being honest with myself. Like, I don't see myself opening the door for a man. Like,
when we get comfortable, but in the beginning,
we buy men flowers.
Do they want flowers?
Yeah, men want flowers.
Sometimes they do.
No thanks.
They like candles.
It's okay.
It's all right.
It's okay. Your money can be spent on something.
There's some small roles that we do expect men to do, and for me, I'm like a no role kind of person. I would love to buy a man a flower if he loves flowers.
Yeah,
and I would like to open the door if he appreciates me opening the door.
Yeah. When it comes, I understand gender roles somewhat exist, or people have an idea of gender roles and what it should look like for a man to do, what it should look like for a woman to do. I know everybody's talking about, what they personally saw. In my household growing up, my father was the cook. Both my parents worked, but my father was the one cooking the meals. Not to say my mother couldn't cook. She could cook. She's a great cook. But my father was the cook in the house. And that's something that, over the years with him, I've watched and learned over the years. And even if I've gone to visit family, if I've gone to visit friends, it's like something like, yeah, mom's cooking. Don't worry about it. Mom's going to make the food. And I see that. I don't really say anything. It's not like a conversation. Oh, your mom cooks? It's not a conversation. I just know how I was brought up, where I grew up. My father cooked. It was never a conversation or debate. It's just what he was doing in the house. And it's something that I've accepted into my life that I definitely have no problem doing. My father has no problem cleaning around the house. Another thing with gender roles, the women are sometimes expected to be the cleaners. My father has no problem taking out the vacuum or the broom or something and doing that type of work. And again, that's something that I've accepted in my life. I've had situations where, I would clean, I would do something like wash the dishes at a girl's house, and she'd be like, "You did what? You washed the dishes? Like, what are you like?" But that's just how I was raised and brought up. But I don't really try to focus in on roles and do I have this role and that role. In my personal life, I don't see it like that. I think it's you in a relationship. If you're comfortable doing that with your person, if you're not comfortable doing that, whatever y'all decide is normal for you guys in your relationship and what works best, move in that direction. That's how I try to see it. That's how I try to see it.
Yeah, gender roles is always funny. It's a similar story. Like when things need to be built, growing up, when things needed to be built in my house, my mom was building everything. Whether it was building cupboards or closets or hanging the TV up, my mom handles that way better than my pops. To the point she don't even tell my dad to even touch anything. She's the builder. When I'm at the crib and I need to learn how to do something, I call in my mom to handle that. And then when growing up, also at school, right? Teachers be like, "Oh, call your mom to come pick you up, or tell your mom about this, or make sure your mom signs this." All the paperwork and school stuff, that was all my father doing that. But the teachers and stuff, they'll always say, "Mom, have your mom do this, have your mom do that, have your mom." So everyone grows up in different households and build their own, you know, gender norms that they've grown up with. But when you are, you know, building with someone, that's when that conversation happens. I mean,
Exactly.
looking into the comments right now, ladies are not having it when it comes to cooking every day. And I do not blame you guys at all for that. But we got to keep the show going. If you guys are watching right now, this is Double M Live. We got the Soulful Sheep podcast. We got Girlfriend Guides podcast. You already know Mike Nice and us and I are holding it down. Make sure you give this a like. Subscribe if you are new. Join in the fun conversation that we are having right now with these lovely ladies. I want to continue to move forward here in talking about just women in general and how you guys come to be. I will create this banner, but first and foremost, who are the women in your lives that have inspired y'all? Or inspired y'all to become who you are right now? It could
Women's History Month, beautiful thing.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Well, I'll start.
Narrow that down.
That's a hard one. I know this is like a very cliche answer, but when I used to get asked this when I was younger, I always used to say I don't know. But now I can wholeheartedly say my mom. As they always say, you don't appreciate things until you get older. Being younger, I was like, okay, I have to do everything for my mom. Or she's so annoying. She won't let me do this. She won't let me do that. And then now being older, seeing how much she fought for me to get where I am today. And she's still fighting for me. She will continue to fight for me. And her coming to this country. And I always used to be so afraid to say this. But my mom came here illegally. And that is the most, no matter how anyone feels about immigration, that is the most badass thing, I think, anyone can do. She came here illegally by herself, started here. And for her to raise me in this country and having to raise me with the mentality she had in Haiti, but also conforming to this culture, I couldn't even imagine doing that at her age. So she is my inspiration. She's the reason I am here. She is the reason that I am able to even have a podcast, even though my mom doesn't really understand, like she doesn't grasp that concept so much, but she's the reason I have a voice. So definitely my mom. Shout out to her.
Shout out to mama.
Shout out to mama, dude.
You know, it's the same answer as for me. It's my mom. So same as Tati, my mom came into this country. When she came into this country, she was not an immigrant, but she did come here while having like permanent residence and everything. And when she came into this world, I keep saying this world, guys. When she came into this country, when she left Haiti, for those who don't know, I was born in Haiti. So when she left, she had to leave me in Haiti, and it was one of the hardest decisions for her because I wasn't able to come with her. So she left me at 2 years old in Haiti, and she's like, that was the hardest decision I had to make because I was leaving my newborn baby in Haiti, and I knew I had to do that in order to give you a better life. So she said when she came here, she worked so hard. She worked at Burger King, whatever job that she could find. She like pushed herself to work at any job. She's like, honestly, it was from, I was working 3 jobs, going to the next job. And when I was finally able to come here, I saw how much my mom still worked, and she was able to work and find us a home so we could like have our own home that we can actually say this is my home. She could pass it down to me. And it's just, I just see how much she worked. And as a Haitian girl, I keep bringing the Haitian culture into this. As a Haitian girl, it makes me so proud to know that my mom has put so much energy and so much for me that I push myself so much, not only for myself. I feel like in my 20s, I'm pushing myself more for myself. But I could honestly say from the age of 16 to like college and even mid-20s, it was all for my mom because I saw how much she worked. I always wanted to make her proud. And it's just, I'm so grateful for having such an amazing mother. And she's also a prayer warrior. Like all my friends know, I'm so big on prayer. And I don't think I would be here where I am today without her prayers. And honestly, she's held me so accountable and just like all the decisions I make in my life. So I'm so thankful for her. And she is definitely the woman that inspires me to be who I am today.
Thank you for sharing that, for real.
Shout out to the moms.
I guess I'm gonna be on this cliche train too.
Okay, it's okay.
But you know, I'm Cape Verdean, so I grew up with a single immigrant mom, and when she came here, she came in legally, but her papers expired. So I grew up knowing my mom was always living in fear, but fighting so hard for me and my brother that were here, and also fighting for my sisters that she had to leave back home. She wasn't supposed to stay here, but then, you know, I happened. So she was like, well, she has an American, so I got to grow up here and go to school here. But just watching all her struggles and just, she used to drive me crazy and all that. But now that I'm at my age and I just look back, a lot of situations that I can remember, I just realized, wow, she's the strongest person ever to be able to handle not only all these kids in her 20s, but a whole new country on her own, living in fear. I mean, my mom didn't get her papers till 2009, so until I was like 18. So like watching all of that my whole life, watching her work 3 jobs at one point, so only seeing her on the weekends, just to have her kids survive, you know, and just she's working her ass off for her kids for a better life. That at this point, you know, she has her good job, she has her own home, she has her own money, and you know, she did it when I was younger, but she was always dumping them because they could never keep up with her. And that's one thing I learned about her and about how I've become as a woman, is like that independence that I've learned is because I got it from her and how hard she's worked. And she strives so hard that, you know, I'm struggling. I'm trying to make things work for me, but I don't have to work as hard because she already set that up for me. So at this point, I'm just kind of carrying the torch on to do better for who's coming next. But definitely my mom has put in a lot of work, and looking back, like she's definitely the GOAT. So my mama.
Yeah, the GOAT.
It drives me crazy though.
That's very beautiful. Can I just say, like, you know, I hope that you guys are saying this to your moms as well, not just saying it to us.
I don't call her crazy to her face.
I will definitely say that I can't have one woman that has changed and inspired my life, but I will say there are a million thousand women that continue to inspire me. And I say that because as a history major, like I definitely understand everything that women in our past have been doing and our ancestors have been doing to like get us where we're at. Because at the end of the day, like we ourselves are here because women thousands and thousands and thousands of years ago did not give up and kept going. And that is why we are standing here today. And so like, just thinking back, like, yes, my mother was definitely an inspiration. My grandmother was definitely an inspiration. I have women in my life that have really pierced into my soul and like showed me their story and shown me their struggles and shown me how they have paved the way for themselves in times and spaces when the odds were against them. And every single time that I'm able to sit down with my grandmother and like her telling me gossip or her telling me her life story or her telling me just about herself, I'm learning more about the ways that she's had to sacrifice for herself, had to sacrifice for her family, and had to make decisions that maybe she wasn't particularly happy about, but she did it because she wanted to make sure that her legacy, her kids, her grandchildren had a life and had something for them. And so I will definitely include my mom in that bubble, but there are like just again, there are women in our past and women till today that continue to continue to see and just see the amazing things that they're doing that continue to inspire me, because like we're in our almost 30.
I'm about to be 30 soon. I don't care.
Like we're not old, but we're not young. And so like we're still growing and we're still developing. And like till this day, there's still going to be even women that are younger, like my aunt who's 21, and she's younger than me out here inspiring me. So like there are a bountiful amount of women that continue to inspire me and have inspired me till this day.
Wow. You guys inspired me by just the stories.
It's beautiful to hear and listen to. Honestly, it's very beautiful.
Oh, I can't.
Fun fact about this song, real quick, while that song plays. On Mother's Day, Chill out. Back in my younger days, going to church with the family. I remember me and a few friends during our Mother's Day service during church. We went up and performed that song in front of the church, and my two friends, they rapped, the verses, and they had me. They were much older than me, and they just said, "Hey, let's get the cute little kid to sing the chorus." So in the middle of church service, they called us up to the stage. My two boys, older boys, my brothers, who was rapping the Tupac's verses, and I was the lady. Don't you know I love you, sweet lady? Oh man, that threw me back just now.
If you know anything about Mike Nice, that man, all you gotta do is give him a mic. That guy is a performer. He's a performer. So I can already picture a young Mike killing it.
It might have started from that church service when I sang that.
that's when it clicked. Like,
probably.
What did we sing in Bridgewater? We had that trio, you, me, and Jamal.
Human Nature, and My Girl. Human Nature and My Girl. We thought we was we
really thought we were the four tops.
We dressed up, we put on a nice little tie and bow tie and everything, trying to go perform. Good times. But back to this topic. I mean, you guys, I'm gonna stay on the same train as well. My mom is huge, big time. I'd said it on the first show when we got this Women's History Month giving out flowers segment started, and I'm gonna say it again because my mother means that much to me. Great lady. I tell her all the time, she's been there from day one, good days, bad days that I've had. I'll never forget times in school when my mom worked at my high school and my badass used to act up. And at the door in the classroom, I had the little square opening where you can look outside in the hallway. Nothing like seeing your mother peering into the classroom, staring at you, making sure that you're not acting up. And I mean, that was my mom, because she had a job at my high school. But I mean, so much things that she's done for me over the years that she continues to do. She's a great woman. And, I don't want to move through the segment because I know Marv is going to probably say his mom too, because I know his mom means a lot to him as well. And, everybody in here is blessed to have their moms a part of their lives, but I do want to shout out people who out there who, probably don't have a mother in their lives, who can't necessarily share, in everything that we're talking about. People grow up differently, with a mom, without a mom, with a dad, without a dad. So I definitely want to shout those people out as well. But, my mom as well, like you guys said, my mom means a lot to me.
Aww.
Yeah, man. The mothers, man. I'm gonna keep mine brief. I'm not gonna get too emotional over here, but I love my mom. If you know one thing, Mike knows it. She's gonna call during this show every single time.
Never fails.
Never fails. And I kid you not, 3 minutes ago, I don't know if you guys even heard it.
Yeah.
Oh, we heard it.
That was my mom.
Who it was, but it was you. Now it makes sense.
That was my mom. She it doesn't matter. She knows what time this show is. She's gonna call and check on me and see if I ate, if I'm good, if I'm breathing. That's just my mom, man. That's my best friend. Love her to death, the strongest woman I know. She's the reason why I am who I am today. If anyone knows me, I'm very competitive. I hate losing. I hate this. It's because of my mom. My mom would beat my ass in Super Mario when I was like 3 years old, laugh in my face. And I think I was like, nah, I can't get beat at anything no more. This is ridiculous. So that's where I get it. That's where I get it from, man. We appreciate all the mothers out there as well. That are not our moms, just hang the single mothers, the mothers just trying to figure it out right now in this world. It's tough. It's not easy, and we want to make sure that we give them their flowers as well.
Mm-hmm. I love it.
Look at it. Yo, Mike, you want to do some rapid rounds while we end this off?
Woo!
It's got to be super rapid.
Y'all joined Double M, so y'all didn't know you were stepping into the hot seat right now. You guys are stepping into the hot seat. So all of you lovely ladies must be ready, because Marvin and I are going to spit some hot fire right now. And you got to answer quickly, like bang, 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 bang. 3 bangs or 4 bangs.
Ready.
Bang, 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 bang. Y'all get it.
Okay, Pops.
Be ready. Marv, Marv, you ready?
I'm ready.
So answer quickly as soon as it comes to your head. Just bam, get it out. Start it off, Marv.
Oh, I'm not ready.
Oh, you wasn't ready. Like that.
All right. Ready. Favorite exercise to do.
Leg day in general.
Boxing.
Sleeping.
All right, this is how we're gonna do. We're gonna always start from Iris and go Daph, Tati, Ellie.
Okay, I love last. Okay.
Oh, my turn.
So yeah, go.
Okay. Favorite show you watched during the pandemic?
I'm gonna say Kim's Convenience. It's not my favorite, but it's the most recent.
Okay.
It's hilarious. It's on Netflix. Big Bang Theory. I watched it from the top.
Little
Again.
fires everywhere.
Money Heist.
Yes.
That's my show right there.
It's coming back.
Celebrity crush when you were little.
Oh.
Common.
Don't judge me. But I really was obsessed with white boy bands. So
Nick Carter.
No. So I like Kevin from the Backstreet Boys. And then of course Justin from NSYNC. I liked him a lot. Yeah. I went through a really bad phase.
Mike, chill.
I knew better. Who likes those? But yeah.
Nick Carter.
Oh, it's my turn. Kobe, rest in peace.
All right.
It's tied. It was Allen Iverson for me and Dwayne Wade.
Ooh.
That's twice on this show we've gotten Dwayne Wade.
Yeah, Dwayne Wade getting a lot of love.
Gabby had to come through, but I'm his main girl.
Oh.
All right, ready. You take a shower right now. What song are you gonna sing?
What song?
Yes.
Any Alicia Keys song.
I don't know.
Fallen.
I don't know, honestly. But lately has been a lot of Snow Allegra, so.
The song Never Too Late, Never Too Late.
Hey, no, hold on.
Never too what?
Is it Never Too
Never
Late?
Too
No, don't do this, y'all. This one is in the
Never too much.
She never too much. There we
I
go.
won a lot of karaoke competitions on that song.
Contract. This wasn't in the contract. I wasn't prepared. I had the beat though.
Yeah,
I'll give you that.
For me, it would have to be "Listen" by Beyonce. Yo, I think I can notes when I'm in the shower.
That's a cry song.
Okay. All right. If you could have any superpower, what would it be?
Healing powers.
You're so nice. I was gonna say reading people's minds.
Invisibility.
Oh, it's my turn. That was quick. I love The Flash. I watch The Flash. I would want speed, because then I can go in the Flashpoint in the future. I could see my future and not mess it up.
Don't go to the Flashpoint. If you watch Flash, you know not to go into the Flash.
Yeah, exactly. But I would want to go. I kind of would want to see the future.
I feel
kind of messed it up just a little bit, but yeah.
All right. There's nothing to do with gender roles. I know we had that conversation before, but I ain't gonna throw it back to that. But this is just a good question because I know all of you in here can cook. What is your favorite thing to cook?
I would say ribs.
Oh, that's a good answer. Honestly, I don't have a specialty. I just be cooking whatever I feel like eating. So I don't have a favorite yet. So I'm gonna just leave it at that.
Shrimp fried rice. Yeah, shrimp fried rice.
My Haitians know this. This is macaroni, but the
Haitian macaroni.
The Haitian macaroni. Macaroni Latinate. That's it.
The best Mac.
Ellie gonna find a way to put Haiti in there.
I represent always and forever.
All right. Let's see here. If you could be born in any era, what era would you want to grow up in?
Ooh, that's a hard one. I'm gonna say the.
No pressure.
As a history major, this is not a good one. I'm gonna say the. This is not Flash at all. I'm gonna just say the
You have it in mind. Just say it.
The 80s. I'm just gonna go with the 80s.
I picked the same because if I was born anytime before as a Black woman, I probably would have gotten myself in a lot of trouble with the mouth I have. So, perfect timing to be who I am. So,
I like that.
Late
80s?
Yeah, late 80s.
So I can really grow up in the 90s?
Yes.
Like the real 90s?
Like I'm thinking of like house party vibe.
Yeah.
I want to be in that.
Yeah.
That's the vibe.
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
I thought that's how my life was gonna be, but this 2000 is real ghetto. I don't like it.
All right, this is my last question here. It might take you guys a couple seconds to think about it. I don't know, maybe not. You have a dinner set up and you can invite 3 women throughout history, past to present, dead or alive, that means something to you that you could sit down and have a conversation with. Who are you inviting? You only got 3 invitations to that dinner.
I'm inviting my aunt, my mother's aunt, Mama Tina. I'm inviting basically family. You don't know their names, but they're basically family that have already died and that have a lot of history that I wish I knew because of the little holes and stories that family have told me. And I can't put the pieces together because not everybody has all of the pieces. So those 3 aunts, it would be.
Cicely Tyson, Cesaria Evora, which is a famous Cape Verdean singer that passed, and my grandma. I just want to really have in-depth conversation about like her youth and get to know her better in that sense. So
I would do my grandmother because I only met her once before she passed.
Mm-hmm.
I would do Rihanna because I just think she's amazing and she's a goal setter. And I would say Coretta Scott King because that woman, like,
I just want to know
undefeated in just a life. Her for sure.
That woman is. I'm gonna stick by your side no matter what.
No matter what
type of woman.
Risk my life.
And I don't know if I'm there yet. It's just like where her husband was. That was just like no matter what. Like I'm gonna walk with your hand. That's a whole different type of woman. Mm-hmm. For me, it would have to be Harriet Tubman, Michelle Obama.
Shout out Michelle.
And lastly, my grandmother.
Nice.
Mm-hmm.
Nice. We're gonna tie up the hot seat right there. We're gonna end it off right there with those questions. Unfortunately, we are not all together right now due to many various of reasons. But all those meals you guys are cooking up, Mike and I cook up something too. We can have a little potluck podcast one day when we all get together.
Please.
Crossovers don't only happen one time. Every other seasons they come together and they do it again. So this is not the end at all with us having each other's company and doing a dope ass show, which we just did here tonight for sure.
Woo!
Yeah, this has been absolutely positively amazing. I'm sure everybody who's been tuned in watching live have enjoyed it thoroughly. The conversations, the back and forth, the different insight on different things. It's been great to watch. It's been great to listen to. I know I've listened and loved everything I've heard. We definitely got to do this again. Without a doubt, this must happen again.
Oh yeah. So we want to give the flowers to y'all, man. Girlfriend's Guide podcast. You guys just started up, but the fearless topics. You guys get real spicy on y'all's show, and y'all get real spicy, and it's needed. It's really needed. So it's great to see 2 Haitian Black women out there really, doing y'all thing. Iris, Daph, known y'all forever. If there's a duo that's a match made in heaven, it's Iris and Daphne. You guys are killing the scene. I'm so glad you guys are doing podcasts and what you guys are bringing in. So shout out to you guys as well. Soulful She. Here's y'all. We got called corny for doing this, but here's y'all flowers, virtual flowers for now. But this is Double M Live, Mike.
You already know what it is on a Tuesday night. This is what we do.
Thank you guys for watching. Make sure you like, subscribe, Look out for our other shows. We got Sundays with Sayonara and Key. We got the Soul Brother doing his show. We got shout out to our EP Sam. Shout out to Soulful Sheepaw. Shout out to the Girlfriend's Guide podcast. This is Double M, and we are signing out.